I've been living in UK for over 12 years now, and there's some things I find very shocking, strange, unbelievable. And how have I been dealing with them? How have I survived them? And what's going on in my head when I see these things happening? So, before we get into today's video, my returning subscribers, thank you so much for joining this channel again. And if you're seeing this channel for the first time, my name is Fatima Sane, and here I share lifestyle tips, immigration tips, more like living in UK tips, more like information that is going to make your settling in UK a beautiful one. So if you're looking for videos like this, then I implore you to subscribe to my channel, give thumbs up if you really like this video, and click on that notification bell just so you know when I post new videos. Okay, guys, thank you so much as you're doing that. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the cultural shocks I face living in UK for this number of years and how have I been dealing with it. So guys, before I even go on into this video, I must say we kind of like different. My cultural shock will probably be different from another person, and that's basically is understandable because we have different personalities. We're raised differently. I'm from originally from Nigeria, and I was raised in Lagos. So it might vary for different people, but this is what I go through. This is what I've seen, and kind of like shocking to me. So I'm bringing it to you just so if you have anybody there that can relate with it, or maybe there's somebody out there that is coming to UK just now and think, okay, I have to start changing my mentality. I have to start, fitting it into this. That's why I'm bringing this video for you. So if you have more of these cultural shocks and you think I've missed anything, yeah, drop it in the comment section. Let's hear from you as well. So what's number one on my list today? Number one on my list is religion. So guys, like I said, I'm from Nigeria, originally from Nigeria, and where I come from, we are kind of like religious. We have the Christians, we have the Muslims, and we have different religion. And you can imagine coming to UK and you meet A and he says, "Oh, I'm not religious," and you're like, "What do you mean by not religious? I don't believe in God." And that's kind of like shocking to me because where I come from, we pray a lot, we fast, do all those things, we believe there is God and everything. Yeah, I still believe there is God, but it was strange to me initially when I got to UK, but now I've kind of like accepted it for what it is because every man to his or our own choice, every man to his or her own belief. So guys, if you're coming to UK and you see most people say, oh, they don't believe in God, they don't go to churches and things like that, they go to church only on occasionally, maybe there is christening, there's dedication, or maybe like there's wedding. Yeah, that is the life in UK just now. And how about we dealing with it? Yeah, it is their choice. It is everybody's choice. Do whatever suits you. Do religion that suits you. Okay, guys, that's number one on my list. Number two on my list today, I've got the list here just so I don't miss it out. Number two on my list is greetings, guys. So because I've been working in a professional setting for over 10 years in UK, and greetings is one of the things for me, I've still not like let it sink in because in UK, people will be like, "Hiya, you all right? How you doing?" That's the way they greet, and we will say, "Good morning, how are you?" and things like that. And when I say "How are you," I'm actually expecting you to say something. Oh, I'm good, I'm bad, or my day is not going well, and everything. But in the UK, if somebody is saying "How are you," the person is just saying "Hi" or maybe like "Good morning." That's the way they greet. They don't expect you to say they don't expect you to like respond with like long conversation. Just say all right or something and just keep moving. But it's kind of strange to me because sometimes even now my colleagues whenever I say, "Oh, how are you, Fatima?" I just go and say, "Oh, my day is going well. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm," things like that. And I will expect the same from them as well. Until maybe like see them moving away and I'm like, okay, that's too much information. Maybe that's it not it. But this is what they see as greeting, just like being polite. But I see it as okay, you want to have a conversation with me. So that I'm still not like it's still not like sinking. I still go talking about everything. Oh, do you know what my weekend was did? I did this video, and have you seen my video? Things like that. They don't need all this information, but it's still me, Fatima. I'm still my Nigerian girl, right? Yeah. You can't take that out of me. So that's the thing about greeting. And another thing about greeting is or maybe like you just say about courtesy here is where I come from, we respect a lot, and we have kind of like hierarchy, but it's kind of totally different here. Your manager, you call your manager or superior person, you call them by their names. You don't use ma'am, you don't use sir or anything. Just use them on first name basis. So outside an example, this I've adapted to it because there's no way I can use sir, ma'am, and because they will look at you strangely. Yeah. An example was when I was working in a pharmacy some years back, and there's this an elderly woman that was working with me, and whenever I need to like do something with her, I'll be like, "Oh, please, ma, can you?" She would be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, Kate." Things like that. She gave me that like, don't use that word for me. Like, who's your mom? Yeah, guys, that's the thing in the UK. Don't use massa or da. Just call them by the name, Kate, John, like that. Just go like that, and don't think there's anybody's your auntie or anybody's your uncle. It's just who they are. Okay, guys, that is it. The third one on my list today is cussing. Oh God, that's swearing. Oh God, this it still makes me feel. I still cringe a lot. It depends on how they use it. You don't know. People swear a lot, and it's totally different from where we come from. So I kind of like understand. So when I first got to UK, everything is just like the FFFF word, and I'm like, what's happening? And this is even when I was doing all these part-time jobs. Then I got to like proper professional settings, and I was stuck thinking, okay, in the professional setting, it will still be like, you normal professional English and things like that, be posh and proper. But guys, it's different. You see this radio effort, and I'm like, okay, this is what it is. So I don't use it because I still can't find myself bring that word out of my mouth. So we don't use it in my house, but when they use it, I don't find it offensive as I used to find it like when I first joined them. And yeah, it depends. If someone is using it repeatedly, it makes me cringe. Or maybe if you're directing it to me, not like you're generalizing a situation or saying something general, but if you're directing it to me, I still cringe. I'm like, oh, could you not use that word for me? Yeah. There's some things that you can just take. So that's that. The number 4 on my list is work-life balance. Yeah, the work-life balance is superb here, and I'm saying superb here because it depends on, like I said earlier on, it depends on your background. It depends on what you've done prior to coming to UK. I've been a pharmacist in Nigeria, and I've worked in different pharmacy, and I worked in a hospital, I work in a community setting, and I know what I'm saying when I say the work-life balance. If you're working in a hospital, you probably don't have holidays. You probably have rotating shift, but there are no holidays. But here, people take that holiday to be very, very important. They don't joke with their holidays. You're expected to have your holiday. So if you don't book your holiday, they will like pressurize you into booking your holiday. So that's what I call work-life balance. So it's kind of like a lot better. And that was shocking to me initially when I got here, because I just wanted to like keep working and working and working and working. But it isn't. You have to enjoy that money too, right? You have to take a break and chill with your family, chill with your people. So that's what I find shocking, and that one I've adapted to it. I love my holidays. I don't joke with my holidays. The fifth on my list today is UK people are non-judgmental. When I mean non-judgmental, they don't discriminate about your race. And some people would do, but they're not doing it to your face. They don't discriminate about your race, your sex, your religion, or they're not judgmental in that aspect. They might not believe in it. And for some people, they tend to like they could mostly race. They could treat you unfairly, but it could be done tactically. So that varies, but they won't directly tell you that, oh, I don't like this color, I don't that, things like that. People don't do that. Another thing is they're non-confrontational. When I mean non-confrontational, so if you have like an instance with someone, it was kind of like seem awkward to them if you're coming to them and be like, oh, you said this and that. See, this non-confrontational, I kind of like because if something is happening and I think I need to clear myself, I think I've kind of like how do I say it? With not being confrontational, I tried not to be confrontational because it's totally different from for us. Like we Nigerians, or let me just say myself, if someone says something about me and I need to like clear that situation, I'll be like, oh, I heard this, and that's not true, or things like that, or it depends on the tone. But here they seem not to look like that confrontational, and to an extent, it doesn't really work well for a black person like me. I would say a black person like me. I'm using mine as an example now. Your situation might be different. So if you're working in a place whereby you think set against you, or you think you have to like clear yourself, rather than being confrontational, there's a way. I think the approach is more important for you. So for me, I'll still say that I'm not adapted to it, because if I heard something, rather than getting angry and keeping it to myself, I would um, I would approach it in a more professional way, and I would like deal with it. So with the non-confrontational, UK people don't like it, and I think for me personally, I tend not to be confrontational, but it depends on the situation. If there's something I'm not comfortable with, I'll deal with it in a more professional way. I don't know if you get what I mean. So with non-confrontational, yeah, it depends on how you handle it. So they don't expect you to like come shouting, be aggressive, because especially for me, especially for us blacks, or maybe like Nigerians, when we hang, we tend to have like louder voice. They don't like things like that. I'll see situation when people have argument, and you'll be like, oh, they're arguing and they're still very calm. So I've kind of like adapted that. I've adapted. So then no matter how much you get me hungry, I'll still bring my tone down, and I'll pass the message across to you in in a professional way. You get what I mean? So don't be confrontational, and be confrontational in a professional way. That's me. That's me. But I don't know about you. That's shocking to me, and that is a working process. So the next number 6 on my list is social life. See, when I first came to UK, I found social life to be very, very boring. Boring, like boring is the word. And to an extent, I think it depends on your personality too, and how you want to like how you want to get out of it, how you want to like integrate yourself into this system. Because my understanding is, if you're going to be living here, then you have to have a way for you to like kind of like adapt to it and fit in. So for social life, it is boring, but how do you fit in? So for me, whenever there's an outing with my colleagues, I go with them. And though they'll take alcohol, which I don't take, and I'm not judging them for whatever it is they take. I just keep sipping my own coke. But what makes it interesting for me is when they are at that level with the alcohol, they say things that is kind of like interesting, and that keeps me happy. And to an extent, when it gets too boring for me, I just say, okay, that's me. I'm going. And yeah, just the gist in between all those social life is interesting. So that keeps me going. And let's talk about celebration. That's also social life celebration. So be it Christmas, be it Eid. I'm a Muslim. Eid is always like, it doesn't seem like a recognized holiday in UK, except you take it as an holiday yourself. So as compared to back home, whenever there's Eid, we obviously won't go to work, and we'll be with family, killing rams, and things like that. Playing with rams, and be with family, wearing the same things and everything. But it's a different case here in UK. There's People don't even recognize there's Eid, except maybe I tell some of my colleagues, oh, tomorrow is Eid, and I won't be coming to work, things like that. I would have booked it as holiday. But what makes it interesting is, I would have I would have made an arrangement. Most times I would have made an arrangement with my family members, probably in London, probably, Glasgow, things like that. And we kind of like come together and have fun together. So it's more about bringing your friends together and have fun together. So that's the thing. For Christmas, is always also very quiet, but Christmas is more recognized. So people tend to like be with their families too. There's usually no movement on Christmas Day. So that is always very, very boring. But it depends on how you fit yourself into this. Get friends around, get people around you. Don't be a loner. Just, integrate, get your network going. So that's what I do with social life. So that I've adapted it to what suits my lifestyle. So do what suits your lifestyles. Okay, guys? So 7th on my list is bill splitting. Bill splitting, I find it shocking, and to an extent I've adapted to it in my own way too. So bill splitting, what I'm saying in essence is when a friend is inviting you over to his or her house, you're expected to like take something along. You don't just go empty handed. That means you're expected to bring your bottle of wine. You have to expected to take maybe biscuit or something. And for some, you would say in advance, oh, I'll be coming with salad, I'll be coming with this. Yeah, I remember when a colleague of mine invited me for barbecue, I told her, oh, I'll be bringing salad. And another person said, oh, they'll be coming with drinks and things like that. We are not just going to a house to like take a barbecue, but we are going to contribute to, having a successful outing and things like that. So that's bill splitting. Another one is this I find awkward. So another one is if you're going out with some of your colleagues and you're going car sharing. Car sharing is, say for example, and somebody wants to come with me in my car. They think they are expected to like contribute to my fuel. And for me, I'm going there anyways. You joining me is keeping me company, but they probably will see it that way. They're thinking, oh, if I had taken my car or if I had taken bus, I would have spent something, which is fair to an extent. It's fair. But I don't see it that way because I'm driving anyway. I'm going to spend the same amount of fuel together. So you joining me is keeping me company, right? But they will still chip in and be like, "Oh, Fatima, take this 5 hour for your, for your fuel and everything." Most of the time, I would decline it, but some will bring you like, yeah, it's happened to me before, and some of my colleagues brought me like, um, an homemade food that is just not it's not something you readily get in, so more like an homemade food that I appreciate, but I didn't want it to see me is because I gave her a lift. You get what I mean? So that's shocking to me, but it is what it is. So if you're in that situation and you're going out with somebody, don't go empty handed. Make sure you contribute to like the outing. So that's that. This number 8 on my list today is public display of affection. Down one. So you can imagine being a Nigerian, you're outside with your spouse or your partner. It depends on the gathering though. But I won't be outside on the street and doing all those things with my husband. You know what I mean? But here in UK, people do not thank you. They just do their things and they don't even care when kids are around. So sometimes when I'm walking on the street and I see that from afar and I'm walking with my kids, I kind of like cover them in such a way that I won't even bring that attention to that, just so that they look away. Or even sometimes when I don't even see, I just see my kids doing like this, and I'm like, really, really. I'm not saying really to them, but in my head, I'm like, really. You can imagine being in Nigeria and doing that outside. People would have bashed you. People would do all sorts, say all sorts to you, especially if you're a lady. So that's shocking to me. That's really, really shocking. I don't know about any other person. So if you see someone doing things like that, just look away. You're not expected to make any side comment. You're not expected to say anything. Just keep your straight face, look away. You're not expected to like mock or say anything about it. Just is numb. So just look away. So that's what I'm saying. The ninth on my list is banks. So banks in UK, when I first came to UK, I thought it was going to be the same thing because I don't know about it now in Nigeria. But before I came to UK in Nigeria, you go to banks, you have like every security door, and you go with your handbag, and the door will probably like reject you because you've got some. Can imagine even having something like this brooch on you would make the door reject you, and you have to like keep stripping. You can imagine going to bank and you have to like remove your belt, take out your, yeah, it happened to me before. That's embarrassing because I need to go get something in bank. I have to like start taking off my belt, start stripping. I mean, but when you see UK banks, you ask yourself again that is this really a bank? Because it probably will be in a building where there are other houses and it's just strolling like there's no security, there's security door, and and you just meet people dressed casually, and you're thinking, "Oh, really? So this is a bank here?" That was shocking to me, but I've kind of like gotten used to it now. So that's that. Number 10 on my list today is transportation. Yeah, transportation in UK is very, very organized. Let me just say to an extent, it's organized, but I'm saying very organized because as compared to where I came from, and organization in the sense that you can plan yourself, you can plan your journey, you can tell yourself, okay, you can kind of like get an idea of when you're going to get to a particular destination, not like you're just going out and you don't know where you're going to get to where you're going. You get what I mean? If you're Nigerian like me, you know what I'm talking about. So it's totally different. Be it you're driving, be it you're taking public transport here, it's totally different. You have your sat nav, and your sat nav will tell you an estimate of the time you probably get to your destination, and it worked out alternative routes for you. It tells you the traffic that you're likely going to see. So it gets you to be kind of like organized. I'm saying this because this is when I was in Nigeria. I wasn't driving. I didn't have a car. I know you probably be a different ball game now because people now have like cars with sat nav and they can plan their journey. But what about people that are taking public transport? How do they plan their journey? Yeah, that is my experience when I was in Nigeria and compared to me living in UK. So the 11th one on my list is accent. Oh my God, guys, the accent. I live in Scotland, so when I say accent, you can imagine what I'm saying. So when I first came to Scotland, it was really really hard for me to like get a job, and it was because I think it was just understanding what people were saying. It wasn't as if I don't understand English, and it wasn't as if I can't hear when a foreigner is speaking, because yeah, we speak English back in Nigeria, but it was totally different. I'd I'd have talked to someone on phone before, and I could not more like it was more like a telephone interview, and I was declined because I could not even hear what the person was saying over the phone because I could not even comprehend. And the next thing I just said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. Sorry, I didn't get that. Sorry, what did you say?" And things like that. And before you know it, the next thing I got was a rejection letter. So it was kind of hard for me initially. It was shocking. And to an extent, in Scotland, people have different accents. The Scottish have different accents that even a Scottish will not hear what another Scottish is saying. So if you find yourself in Scotland, don't feel bad. If somebody says something and you don't understand, just tell them to repeat themselves. And it happens to me as well. When I say something, I think I speak as clearly as I could be, but sometimes people will be like, "Oh, Fatima, you're too fast." And yeah, it's same thing. It's same thing. So somebody says something to you and it's not clear, just ask them, "Oh, could you repeat yourself?" And don't just assume that, "Oh, this is what they say," because I've done that before, and I'll just be like, "Okay, okay," and I'll just go do my own thing. I'm like, but you said it was okay. At that point, I can say it's because I didn't hear you. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the thing about that accent. Then another one on my list is confusion with health Esther. See, guys, I think in UK people tend to get confused when you change your hairstyle, and this even happened to me recently. I was at work, and there's this guy that was looking for me, and he came to check on me. He was right next to me, more like behind me, because he didn't see me, so he could not tell it was me, but he was behind me, and he came to check on me three times, and he had been behind me. He didn't know it was me. It wasn't as if he had not seen me prior to. I think because I just changed my hair, he hadn't really sink in that, okay, this is Fatima. He had seen me prior to that time, and he saw my new hairstyle, but he hadn't sink in. And you can imagine someone coming to look for you three times and standing next to you and didn't know it was you. And he came the fourth time, like, "Did you see me look for you?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see you." And he said, "He's been here like three times." So that's still shocking to me because it is still me. It's just different hair, right? Yeah. So it's kind of confusing. So what I tend to do, I've adapted to do. What I tend to do is when I have an hairstyle, I keep it for as long as I could. So sometimes I do 3 months with a particular hairstyle. Sometimes I do more than, just so that I don't confuse. It's just that I don't confuse so many people. Sometimes some people will be like, "Oh, where's that new girl?" That's shocking to them, and it's shocking to me because how won't you know me? Yeah, it's still me. My face is still there. It's just the hair that is different, right? Yeah, that's that thing. And yeah, the next one on my list is politeness. People are super polite in UK, like really, really polite. You can imagine if you're going out and somebody is in front of you, they hold it up for you. Things like that are really is really, I find it really really nice. And sometimes even when you're driving and somebody has got the right of way, the person will tell you to come, like give you an access to like drive when they've got the right of way. You know what I'm saying? If you're in Nigeria like me, if you've got the right of way, you just keep moving, and you know or sometimes both of you would then block each other, and it becomes something else when you would have just done like just come and and I even find it shocking because they tell you to come, and at the end of the day, they still tell you thank you. Who does that? giving me something and you're still telling me thank you. Yeah, I find shocking, and that I've adapted to you. So if I'm driving and I see someone coming, I just tell them, okay, you come first. And I still say thank you. And it makes life very, very easy for us. So guys, this is going to be the end of this video. Like I said earlier, if you've got any that you want to add to this video, please drop it in my comment section. Let's learn from your own culture shocks as well. And if there are things that you think, okay, Fatima, this will happen to me. And I've mentioned earlier, we are from different places, we have different upbringing, more like we have different backgrounds. So it's probably going to be different for some people, and some people will be able to relate as well. So guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, this is the right time for you to subscribe to my channel. Give thumbs up if you really like my video, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss any of this video. Okay guys, I'm gonna say bye for now. Bye.